What's going on, everyone? About 55% of the S&P 500 closed up in the green, and as we all know, Santa's coming to town, and all traders are looking for the potential Santa rally that officially starts tomorrow. In today's video, we're going to tell you everything you have to know about the upcoming potential Santa rally, some of the hottest moving stocks right now, and some other key things to keep on your radar for tomorrow and the rest of the week. But besides that, Tom, we have a lot to talk about today, so let's get right to it.
Yeah, it was a pretty crazy day out there. I would call it mostly a choppy day in the market, but the SPY did try to recover from open to close, which was a good sign, but we never really broke above the highs from Friday. And that's still going to be a very big thing on watch for tomorrow. And tomorrow's going to be a really weird day, so be ready for low volume and possible slowdown as the holiday starts. So, Mike, there's going to be an early close at 1 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow, so be ready for that in the afternoon. And then on Wednesday, the market will be closed before we start to resume regular trading hours on Thursday and Friday. So obviously, we're in Christmas week here, so happy holidays to everybody out there and Merry Christmas. But it's going to be a fun day tomorrow nonetheless. Even though we are getting that early close, I do expect at least still some good price action and momentum out there, at least out of some of these tech stocks. Like going back to the heat map today, we had some pretty good recoveries, like NVIDIA up 3.69%, AVGO was up 5%, AMD was recovering, so it looks like the chips are seeing a little bit of strength in the short term.
Yeah, it's nice to see, and we have some really cool charts to look at today, just, tied to everything going on in the market. So we definitely have an exciting video, but some things that we have to jump into immediately is some of this crazy price action with some of these lower cap stocks. Ticker symbol RUM today, Rumble, exploded by over 80%. Tom, what is going on here?
Yeah, this is beautiful. Rumble ended up having a great deal today, Mike. So they actually had a $775 million investment from Tether, getting 103 million shares at $7.50 each. But this really made Rumble explode, and 81%. This is no joke. And Rumble has a weak correlation to the SPY, so it doesn't really care what the overall market does, which is a great thing for this. But I mean, a $775 million investment into a low cap like this, you're definitely going to get some movement like what we saw today. And they did say that they were going to use this to obviously support growth initiatives, I should say, and do a self-tender offer of their Class A shares. So looks like they're going to use it to help the company a little bit. And overall, shareholders really like that move. You go to the daily chart, and I mean, that is one heck of a gap up. This is one of the most volatile stocks I think I've looked at in the history of stocks here.
Yeah, Rumble really went full rocket mode today. We'll put it that way. And, when you have 80% up days and the way Rumble had today, it's certainly nothing to ignore. So definitely keep this one on the radar over these next couple of trading days. Because it is a holiday week, there won't be as much craziness in the market as we normally see. So Rumble might get more attention than it otherwise would have. And that can make the stock move in a way that's crazier than it should. So either way, keep it on the radar. If it continues to put good pressure on its highs, that'll be a great sign. But if it doesn't, that's where the situation changes. But either way, keep it close on watch. But another area of the market, Tom, that has been moving in a pretty strong way over the past couple of trading days is TLRY. Tilray. What is going on here?
Now, this is a pretty crazy situation. We talked about this a couple weeks ago with Roaring Kitty posting this wild picture here. And, this picture kind of threw people off a little bit. People were like, okay, what's going on, right? You have January 9th, you have 420 on here. What's going on January 9th and 420, right? Well, that's actually the day that Tilray reports earnings. So be ready for that, Mike. eWhispers here has that date confirmed, Thursday, January 9th. So be ready. People are obviously saying that this could be tied to something with Tilray. So I'm really curious to see how they do on their next report. Maybe they'll have a decent report and run up. Maybe they won't. Either way, you never know with situations like this. But this is obviously obviously what Twitter was looking at today with Tilray. I was scanning some of the bigger news sites, and I wasn't seeing too much, but nonetheless, it was up 13%, and a lot of the other MJ stocks weren't moving, so it seems like this is more Tilray specific.
Yeah, so there's a couple key things here. The first thing is that Tilray is a marijuana stock, so it certainly moves in ways that are, different than most stocks and crazier than most stocks. But like you said, Tom, this situation has that roaring kitty, what we'll call craziness attached to it, where like if this stock does truly move in a momentum filled way, it has that like exponential potential where things can just get really crazy really quickly, but it's all in the hands of like, what this stock can do. Because if this stock just, fades lower and chops around, then, it's not really going to really turn into anything. However, if it does actually start to build momentum and move in a strong way, enough to the point to bring in even more buying pressure and even more attention to the stock, that is where the situation, truly becomes something special. But it really, from this point is how much and how strong can this stock move? And I think that will be the most important question with this one over these next couple of days, because as we see when we zoom out on a Tilray chart, this stock is, certainly no stranger to big, crazy runs that can last for weeks to even months at a time. But this like building phase right here is like the most critical.
Yeah, I really like this part that we're in with Tilray because it's right at the beginning of a potential move higher. And a lot of these run-ups here from the past, you can see how the volume started to uptick quite a bit on the first few days before we started to truly get that really good upside potential coming in there on Tilray. And we can see the volume today that actually came in was one of the most voluminous days of 2024. So definitely keep this on the radar. There's a lot of volume and a lot of good inflows heading into Tilray in the short term. So definitely watch it. And Mike, I know you have a slogan with the MJ stocks. If you can't handle the heat, get out of the kitchen on these, right? They're pretty crazy. I always say we're going to put that on a shirt sometime in 2025.
Let's get it. Alrighty. And then some other interesting action in the market today was with none other than Palantir. And Tom, they made a brand new all-time high. So this was really cool to see. They made an all-time high of above $82 a share, which was nice. More specifically, it was like $82.92. So that was really awesome to see. But the price action was like a little bit weak from open, but a new all-time high is a new all-time high.
Yeah, that was a good gap up this morning. I will say, though, the double top there was a bit worrying. A lot of people were kind of upset this morning as it made that high, but then ended up pulling right back to the downside and retesting that key $78 support. And you can see that $78 has been marked by a couple arrows here where we've seen a lot of good bounces off of this area recently. So I'll be watching that really closely tomorrow to see if 78 keeps holding or not. If Santa comes to town, we might see a new all-time high on Tilray up above that 83 area. While we did technically have the high today, I'm not going to count that as a true break.
Fair enough, honestly. So either way, keep Palantir close on watch. But, Santa's coming soon, hopefully. And we can see by looking at some historical market stats that the Santa rally tends to start in the last 5 days of the current year. So that would start tomorrow, Tuesday, December 24th. And it would end on the second day of the following year. It's a little bit confusing to say. So the official Santa Rally days for this year are from December 24th to January 3rd. Historically speaking, this is a very strong time of the year where the market tends to rise not only most of the time, but also in a strong way. But what's worth noting is that in the times where, we don't see a real rise, the pullbacks can be kind of nasty.
Yeah, it definitely was there. And I can't believe that in January, the month following the Santa rally, 13 out of the past 25 Januaries were actually red. And a lot of these years where we had a nice green Santa rally, there was actually pretty decent pullbacks in January. So definitely be wary for the month after. But it definitely gives me some excitement for the next week or so, Mike, because, of course, let's hope Santa comes to town and gets some of these stocks up and out of some of the ranges. While we did see some good positivity today, a lot of these tech stocks were pretty slow, like Amazon and others have been kind of stuck around these highs.
Yeah, and that shouldn't be too surprising given some of the nasty breath we've seen in the market lately. So when we look at this data here, we can see that we've had quite a short-term cluster of some bad breath in the market. And essentially what that means is that we've been seeing more stocks falling compared to the amount of stocks that are rising. We could see historically in these situations, it's actually a decent thing for the market as time goes by. We could see the next month following a consecutive, short-term cluster of bad breath tends to be not only pretty positive, but, positive in like a pretty strong way, and that data only gets more and more showed as you look out further in time, because when we look at like the next 3 months, 6 months, and next year, there have been some pretty big gains in those situations.
Gosh, yeah, I mean, you're talking some of these next years, 35%, 37%, the average being almost 15%. That is awesome there. So I love this this data here, Mike. Now, of course, each data set's cherry-picked a little bit, but nonetheless, I do like this one. Of course, it shows 62.5% of the time. We do see a higher run the next month following this negative breath, which sounds like a terrible thing, like you said, but it does actually lead to some pretty positive moves here. And maybe what that shows is that, there might be some good movement following some of these pullbacks. So maybe we just saw a short-term pullback, and, we're going to see a nice run higher here for the next month and next 6 months and so on. But it's going to be a great 2025, Mike. I can't wait to see how this data ends up playing out.
Let's get it. All right, so as we look at SPY right now, Tom, what are the key levels and analysis to keep on the radar for tomorrow?
Yeah, we talked about this a lot yesterday. This 595 resistance is going to be major. I'm really watching this whole range between 590 and 595, which is huge here. There's been a lot of chop and I would say range-bound movement with the SPY here, especially today and the end of the day Friday. So if we do start to break that high, like I said, right around 595 or even the high of day Friday, right around like 595.75, then I'll be watching SPY to the upside. And the next major level to keep on watch is $600. I have it marked in green here overhead, so definitely be watching for 600. I think that will act as a major resistance, and the main thing I'm watching for here is SPY going to form a lower high somewhere in this range? If we do end up forming a lower high, that's going to be a pretty bearish sign in the short term, but if we can end up ripping above 600, I think that we could get pretty bullish. But of course, we need the Santa rally to keep going, and we need some of these tech stocks to break out. A lot of these tech stocks have been stuck up here in these ranges, and we need some good movement and price action to get them going.
Yeah, you really beat me to it with that SPY analysis. I'm really looking for a potential lower high here, and that $600 will be a critical point. If SPY cannot break through that with momentum, there's a decent chance that it's going to form that lower high and bring upon even more bearishness going forward. On the other hand, like you mentioned, Tom, if we can get that, swing of like actual bullish momentum and push SPY back through this key $600 resistance level, that would be an amazing sign, and it would show a lot of strength and urgency with the buying pressure in the market right now. So really, I think it's a very good time to be adaptable. Don't get married to the bull side or the bear side. As a trader, you have to adapt and follow the money. So keep that in mind. But besides that, we are all clear to just, I guess you could say, skim through some of the events and earnings this week because it's kind of dead.
Yeah, it definitely is here. So tomorrow, be on the lookout. We do have some durable goods orders coming out. And then it looks like on Friday, there is going to be some ISM manufacturing data on Friday, January 3rd. So definitely watch for that over the next couple weeks. And honestly, Mike, into the end of this year, there's not really too much. And like I said, the next big thing is Friday of next week. So there's not really that much on the radar here.
Yeah, and then the earnings schedule is as dead as can be. There is nothing for like 2 weeks. So we are all clear there. So let's get right into some setups and predictions then. A stock that is definitely on my radar is SOUN, SoundHound. This is a recent AI stock that is in pullback mode. We talked about this one a little bit in yesterday's video in a bearish way, and it did start to move lower today, which is great to see. But I think as long as it continues this sort of rejection rejection off of its recent highs, especially like between like the $22 and $24 area. That will be a bearish sign for the stock in the short term. It's starting to lose some of its momentum, and we are just seeing like a little bit of like a shakeup in the market as a whole. At the same time, we are also seeing SoundHound post lower highs over the past few trading days, where the first high was around $24 a share, the next one was around $23.80 per share, and this most recent one from today was around $23.30 per share. This shows that the selling pressure is not only getting stronger and stronger, but also more urgent. Either way, SoundHound is on my radar to the downside in the short term, and at this point, I would like it to stay below that $22 area. If we see a break above that, it's not the end of the world, but I really want to see continuous lower highs being made.
Yeah, that would be beautiful to see this $20 area give out tomorrow and see some more bearish action. I'll definitely be watching it to the downside with you, Mike. I like this one quite a bit. With my next setup, I'm looking at AMD, and I thought that AMD actually had some pretty good price action today back to the upside. So I am watching for a couple areas for a potential breakout in the short term. There is a lot of resistance up around 127.70 to 128. If we start to see AMD break above 128 over the next couple days, I will be looking for a potential 130 push. Now, I don't necessarily think that AMD is going to start some major uptrend or anything right now, but I will be looking for at least a retest of some of these upper resistance levels coming up. So that's more of what I'm looking for with this one. If we do see a rejection back down, I will be watching this support where we've seen a couple of bounces recently, right around the 123 area, very closely over the next couple of days. If that starts to give out, I will become a little more bearish.
All right, sounds good. Another stock that is close on watch is OXY. This stock has had some great price action over the past couple of trading days, even though that the stock itself has been very weak over the past couple of weeks and months. I really like how it is holding this recent support right around $46 per share. And while it didn't have like the craziest day today, that's okay because I like how it is still continuing this short-term trend of just like bullishness and, strengthening price action. On Friday, the stock had one of the strongest opens out of most stocks in the market, and it is continuing that trend. Either way, it is making higher lows in the short term, and I definitely like the reward to risk playing this one to the upside going forward, but I really would like to see the stock stay above this $47 area.
That would be awesome for tomorrow. I definitely like 47. Oxy's coming back pretty well here. The oil stocks are starting to get some of their moxie back, right? They were starting to break down through supports here in the short term, but I really do like 47, so I will be watching Oxy as well. With my next setup, I'm looking at DraftKings to the downside, and a lot of people are probably like, Tom, why? Don't you have long-term shares of DraftKings? And I'm like, well, yeah, but hey, we always have to adapt, right? DraftKings is actually in a pretty big downtrend on the longer term daily chart. Going back to the highs from COVID, you can see where they posted their all-time high up around that $70 mark. And since then, we've just been posting lower highs on the daily. And of course, we just now formed one and we just bounced off the trend again. So I will be watching for a breakdown of $38 in the short term. If we start to see that breakdown over the next couple days, keep watching DraftKings down. I think there could be some great put opportunities. But of course, it's a stock I love for the long term. I will be looking to buy it once it falls, but hey, you have to adjust to short-term price action.
All right, there we go. Well, let's jump right into today's momentum plays then. And with the first one, we have Chewy to the upside.
CHWY, good recovery today. They're sitting right around $35. So if they're able to break that, watch them back to the upside.
All right, with the next one, we have LLY also to the upside.
Eli Lilly trying to come back up as well. If they can re-break $800, watch them up.
All righty, and then with the last one, we have Lucid also to the upside.
Yep, Lucid 3.15. Watch that. It's right around the high of day today and from Friday. So if we're able to break 3.15, then watch Lucid up as well. It was up 2.6% today.
Sounds good. So we have Lucid, LLY, and CHWY on watch for potential momentum plays tomorrow, if and only if they break through the levels listed. These stocks are crazy, so you have to be willing to adjust and flow with the trend changes. Have stop losses and protect yourself as always, but understand that momentum style setups like these ones are better in the stronger and more consistent way they move. Basically, the more these stocks go up and the more consistent they move, the stronger the setup becomes. So keep that in mind and keep these stocks on watch for potential momentum plays. But besides that, Tom, we do have a pretty interesting $1.3 million big money trade, and we are looking at ticker symbol XLE. So this is actually one of the largest and most liquid energy ETFs in the market, and we saw a big money trader buy up the $83.50 strike call options that expire on January 31st of 2025. So I think this is a super interesting trade where it is of decent size, $1.35 million. The strike price is now in the money. The options have a little bit over a month of time to them, and XLE has been in a pretty nasty downtrend in the short term. So I think it does offer some nice buy the dip opportunities, but I will say, because the setup has been, I guess you could say, a little bit weak in the short term, if we do see a break below that $82 and 80 cent area, that would be concerning. But I think this is going to be a super interesting setup going forward, especially given how much the stock has fallen over the past few weeks.
Yeah, and it seems pretty range bound here within this area that you mentioned. That 82.80 to 82.90 support looks pretty dang good here with XLE. There's been a few big money plays on XLE, of course, over the past year, but I will be watching for this support to hold. That's a pretty good support right around that $83 mark. And of course, you have to give it a little bit of time. It's not like it has the most time ever, but I think for the next couple weeks with a possible support bounce, this could be pretty fire. And going over to crude oil, it's still consolidating, Mike. I mean, I know we keep seeing the breakdown with a lot of these energy stocks, a lot of crude oil stocks, but crude oil itself is actually holding and continuing to bounce in this lower range around 70. So it seems like it's coiling a bit. If we start to see a bigger move towards the end of this coil, either up or down, we're probably going to get some pretty good movement out of XLE and some of these energy stocks and ETFs.
What I do like about the recent action with crude oil is that we are making slightly higher and higher lows, which is a good thing, and it does say a lot because crude oil has had zero momentum over these past few months, and the fact that it is still making higher lows shows that there is real buying pressure at these lower levels, and it is a good sign. So I am very excited to see when this finally does break, and I also think it says a lot how much energy-related stocks have fallen over the past few weeks, and I like the fact that the big money is jumping in here, buying this dip on at-the-money options that only have a month worth of time to them. So they're definitely expecting a decent move, at least somewhat soon.
Yeah, and I think that them being at the money gives you just even more confidence, right? It's not like they're doing some super far out of the money calls or anything like that. It definitely has a little more confidence here, and the risk-reward ratio is awesome if you use this support as a good potential stop loss. So overall, I like the play quite a bit, Mike, and it's a decent amount of money too, right? I would say anything over $1 million on a big money play is pretty decent, so I would call it a pretty good one here.
There we go. All right, Tom. Well, before we move forward, we have to give a giant shout out to today's member of the day, IV26 in the Stocked Up trading floor. They had a great post in the Profits channel today showing some awesome gains, and it was just great to see. So huge shout out to you, IV26. Keep up the great work going forward, and hopefully we see many, many more screenshots like this one going forward. You've been a great member of the community for a few months now, so keep on rolling. If you guys are new to the Stocked Up YouTube channel, definitely consider obliterating that subscribe button to get our videos recommended to you more often. It takes us hours to make these videos, and we cover the most important news, information, big money plays, and events to be aware of in like 20 to 25 minutes or less. So consider joining the Stocked Up crew by demolishing that subscribe button. And we also are doing a Christmas sale for the Stocked Up trading floor. Coupon code SANTA100 saves $100 off the yearly plan. This gives you full access to our army of bots, first access to the big money trades, our weekly live events, and much, much more. So if you're into short-term trading, it's the place to be. Definitely check it out, and it'll be that first link in the description and the comments down below. But besides that, thank you all so much for watching, and let's have a great end to 2024.